Vijay, you can pause the recording.
Okay.
A very good morning to everyone. I'm happy that our member Mr. Mayur Deshmukh has brought to us such a new topic, cohort analysis. To be frank, even I'm not very sure, how to do a cohort analysis. So that's why even I'm eager and interested to go ahead with this session. And to give just a brief introduction, this topic is suggested by our own BBA member Mayur Deshmukh, and he has given opportunity to his own team member Alisha Almeida to come forward and give a session to all of us. Okay, Mr. Mayur, first I would request you to give a brief about yourself, and then tell us, what this cohort analysis is, and who in the market is actually, going for cohort analysis. Who are the, customers for this kind of assignments. Okay. And then, yes, over to you, Mr. Mayur. After this, I will introduce Alisha.
Yeah, good morning all. I am Mayur Deshmukh from Wheaton Advisors. We help companies value the businesses as unlike all of us. And we not only value it, but we prepare a business model, help them understand how the valuation or how the revenues will be driven. Just to give more backgrounds of myself, I have completed my engineering MBA in finance, did clear CFA level 1, and after that started my own practice around 5 years ago in valuation domain, where we help private equity investors, venture capitalists, and other investors to value the deals and do the due diligence of the deals using primary research and secondary research so that they can take the wise decision for the funding. Now I will come to why we chose this as a cohort analysis as a subject. When I was working around 2 years ago, I got a query from one of my investors that, are you aware about cohort analysis, and can you let me know how can we do a cohort analysis to do so how can we do a cohort analysis so that we understand the customer churn rate? And at that time, as a valuer, I didn't know what is cohort analysis. I thought that it is some other method through which we will find a value of a business. Let's say using DCF, we get a valuation as $500 million. Using cohort, you will get something else. But when I dig more into this topic, I started understanding that it is a pattern which is used by the startups to values loss making, mostly loss making, or a company which is not doing great revenues. This will help us to understand how to gain a customer, for how long we retain that customer, and what is our churn cycle. That is nothing but after how many months or years our customer will lose us, and then how will we get back to it. For more details, I will like Alisha to throw a light and start from basics, that what is cohort, how to analyze it, and how to build the model.
Yes,
But
Mayur.
overall, the market size is very good for this, and this is this is a need of a time when it comes to a tech industry or SaaS-based products. When you want to understand the revenue driver, you will always require to understand the cohort analysis, and that will help you to get more projects of valuation. Yeah, over to you, Shilpa.
Thanks, Mayur. Yes, we got some idea about today's session. Friends, today's session is a CEP session. So as and when the speaker suggests, we'll be running the poll, or around 9:15, we'll be running the poll. Okay, so please be mindful that whoever have requested for CPRs and made the payment, please answer the poll questions as well, as and when it is launched. And yes, it's my pleasure to introduce Alisha Almeida for all of you. Miss Alisha is an analyst at Wheaton Advisors Private Limited, where she works on sector agnostic valuation models. She recently passed the CFA exam level 3, has cleared the CFP exams, and is a BA in economics. Thanks, Mr. Mayur, for suggesting this topic. Over to you, Alisha. And just tell us also, what is the CFP? Maybe others know. I'm not aware of the CFP. I'm not able to hear you, Alisha. Others are able to hear her?
No, ma'am.
Alisha, can you check your output?
Yeah, Alisha, can you be bit louder?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So hi, good morning to everyone. Yeah, so ma'am, you asked about CFP. CFP is a certified financial planner course that is provided by the FPSB board, Financial Planning and Securities Board from US. So it has various topics spanning from investment planning to tax planning and topics like these. Yeah, so today's topic, if we can move forward with that. Yeah, let me just share my screen. Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah. So customer retention and cohort analysis. Now this is what a typical cohort table would look like. Somewhat similar. We're going to learn how to build these tables and how to analyze them, how to be able to read them. So these are the topics that will be covered in today's session. We're going to learn about customer retention, net revenue retention, gross revenue retention, and how to calculate these rates. Going forward, what is cohort? So cohort is nothing but like simple division of users into small groups for better analysis. These users can be divided based on similar characteristics that they will share. For example, you could just divide the users based on geographies that they come from. Like you can have users from say Mumbai, from Bangalore, from Pune. So you can just build cohorts based on those. Like you can have Mumbai cohort, you can have Bangalore cohorts, or you can also divide them based on the month you acquire them. Say you can have a January cohort or a March cohort based on the acquisition that these users have. You can also base it on yearly cohorts, or you can have daily cohorts, depending on what your business model is. If you have a subscription-based model where your users come in every month, a monthly cohort would be a better option. So it's nothing but just a group of people who share similar characteristics are put into one cohort, into one group. That is simply what a cohort means. Now, what is cohort analysis? It is a type of behavioral analytics where you would observe the changes in behaviors of your customers right from the time that they have come in up to a particular period where you're analyzing it. Now, period could be anything spanning from 2 months to a year or whatever, up to 5, 7, 10 years, whatever analysis you're doing on. It is also a tool to measure our engagement over time. So you'd be analyzing from when your customers come in and how much retention do you have. So after say your customers are acquired in January, and in the month of March when you're analyzing it, out of those customers that came in, how many customers have still been retained by the business? Say you had 2 customers that came in January, and in the month of March you have just 1 customer left. So your retention rate would be 50%. So one of those customers is already left. So all of these analysis can be done through cohort analysis. If like anyone has any doubt, you can just stop me and ask questions.
Just
as
one
we go
basic doubt
Yeah.
on this kind of assignments.
Hmm.
Like, have you seen in your experience whether investor asks this whether due diligence team asks, or whether the promoter himself out of his own, he wants to analyze what's happening to him. Normally, who requires this?
All of these people can require, for a business, if they want to improve their business, they can use Cohort. Valuations, like if a VC wants to invest and they want to see if what kind of revenue retention is there or what kind of customer retention is there, you could use it. So it could be used for any of these purposes.
Just let me just pitch in, Alisha. Yeah, Shilpa, what happens here is generally this startups want to know that whether they are doing right things or not. Because whenever you say that you have 7,000 application downloads, or let's say 7 million application downloads, then how will you justify that those users are active users or not? For that, startup do just a basic cohort analysis to understand the behavioral pattern, that for how long the customers has been using our uh, app, or have they just logged in and just not using it afterwards, or have they just registered for it. The from investment perspective, VCs always look at these numbers, or VCs or private equity guys, because they want to understand the active customer base rather than just a number. Because there can be, we can try with this ad promotions, you always get to know that, okay, if you pay through XYZ app, you get 10% off. People use it for the first month till the time the offer is there, but once the offer goes away, they don't use. So there, this plays an important role. To give you a simple example, let's say when UPI system started, right? Initially we had Paytm to do all the payments back in 2018, just before our lockdown, this what we say, note currency ban stuff. So we had something, the market share taken by Paytm for all the digital payments. But soon after this, uh, this what we say, note currency ban,
Demonetization.
demonetization, sorry, uh, the preference changed from Paytm to Google Pay. So there we see that how much customers were written early, were working earlier, and then what was the fall, and what is the current customer rate, and based on that the valuation of Paytm was increased or lowered. When Alibaba or other guys have quit one division of Paytm, or some of them have moved out of the Paytm, they chose to see what is the cohort analysis to make their decisions. You will understand more things once we go in detail, once Alisha explains us how things were done, how things are done, and then I will give a practical example when possible. Thank you. Over to you, Alisha.
Yeah. So
Just a minute. Is it clear, or you need more explanation on it?
Clear. We will
Yeah.
allow the session to continue, and better to take the questions in the end.
Okay, perfect.
So moving on to the benefits of cohort analysis. So the first point is determining business health. So cohort analysis can help, to look at stuff like, are the revenues growing? And if they are growing, is it growing because you have an increased user base, or is it that the existing users are spending more? And, if they are spending more, which cohorts are contributing the most to the revenues? And then, like, is there something that we can devise? Is there any strategy that the businesses can devise due to which, you would lure the customers to spend in more than what they're actually spending? So that could be one benefit. The second is understanding the customers better. So when you are dividing these customers into cohorts, it helps you to analyze patterns and trends of seeing, see which cohort is doing better in terms of retention, which one is not, um, based on the user base, or also on revenue retention. We're going to see how to read these tables later, and these points will again be reviewed. Then enhanced customer segmentation. So this will help, businesses give a targeted focused marketing strategies or campaigns for specific cohorts that respond better to that particular strategy. And increased customer retention, like it will help the customers take steps into retaining the customers better based on the strategies again that these cohorts respond on. So these are a few benefits, and as we go forward, we'll also be seeing how these benefits can be applied through the analysis. Now, we're going to move forward to being learning how to build these tables and in Excel. And also there are a few terms that I would like to explain before we start building these tables. So there is something called as upselling. So upselling is basically when the user starts spending more than what they were initially spending. So if a user say was spending say $25 for a few months, and then he starts spending $30. So you have $5 worth of upselling that is happening on the user side. So that is upselling. What is downselling is when the customer starts spending less than he used to spend. So the customer spends $25 for a couple of months, and then the next month suddenly he starts spending only $10. So that's $15 of downselling. Churn is when churn is another concept where you would say that the customer stops spending entirely. So you've lost that customer. So you're spending $25 and suddenly in the next month, the customer just stops paying. So that $25 is worth as the churned revenue, the amount that is churned. And you can also have a count based on customers, say one customer churned or two customers churned. Are these three concepts clear?
Yes.
Yeah.
Alisha, can you explain churn once more?
Sorry? Churn.
Yeah.
Yeah. So churn is basically when the customers leave or customers stop paying. So they stop subscribing to your product. Say the customer had subscribed in the month of January, and he's been a subscriber and paying every month for 3 months up till March. But in the month of April, he stops paying. So that is the churned amount. It will be the customer that is no longer an active user.
Yeah. Okay, understood. Thank you.
Yeah. Anything else? So we're going to go to Excel and we're going to learn how to build these cohorts in Excel. So I just have an example set up where we have the customer IDs. I have got 20 customers, for example, the country that they are based in, the subscription date when they initially came. So this is in the month, date, and year format. So customer number 70 was acquired or started subscribing to our product on the 9th of February 2022. Then we have the cancel date, which you could also say that the customers churned on this date. Then these are the things that we're going to build. So just so now I'm going to, like, we can, as I said, we can divide these customers into various cohorts depending on what we are analyzing. So we can have monthly cohorts, we can have quarterly cohorts, or we can have cohort based on the countries, geography wise. So for monthly cohort, I just need the month and the year of subscription. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to need the date over here. I'm going to need the year from the subscription date. So here, I'm going to need the month from the subscription date. And I need it to be on the 1st of that month. So I'm going to say enter. So the customer that joined in on 9th of February will be classified into the monthly cohort of February. Similar way, I just drag this down. The customer that joined on 7th of December will be classified into the December cohort. The customer which joined in June of on 3rd of June will be classified to the June cohort. In the similar manner, quarterly cohorts can be built where I assumed that it is a January to December financial year. So any customer that comes on in the month of February will be classified to the Q1 2022 cohort. Any customer that came in the month of July will be classified to Q3 of quarterly cohort. Is this up till here clear?
Yes, go ahead.
So now this column over here months, I want to know if the user is an active user or if the user has churned. For how many months is the user being active? So I'm going to just put in a formula, a simple if formula, and I'm going to say if there is a number or if there is a date in this, date is just a number, if you see it. So if there is a value in this cell in E4, then what I want is, I want a difference between the cancel date and the subscription date by 30, because I'm assuming that there will be 30 days in a month. I want digits to be rounded off to 0. And if that is the case, if there is a cancel date, then I want this, the difference between those 2 months. If no, I just want it to be active. So, yeah.
Maybe 0 should not be there, Alisha. I'm not an expert, but just thought of suggesting.
Yeah. Sorry, I just forgot to close the parenthesis.
Many more brackets have to be closed.
Yeah.
No.
4 actually. After if 1,
Hmm.
after number 1.
Yeah, no. After if.
Alisha, just write formula again and close
Yeah.
the.
I think there should be a bracket after is
Yeah.
number.
Oh, yes. There's. Yeah. And so this customer is still active. I drag it down. So this customer is turned after 7 months. He was active for 7 months from the month of April to the month of November. So 7 months of active user. Then we have got these active users. This customer churned after 3 months, came in the month of March, churned in the month of June. So he was active for 3 months. So that is what this column is going to tell us. And these are just the revenues based on, which months the customers have been acquired. So this user came in the month of February. So we have got the revenue generated over here from February up till December, because the user is still active. For the second user, for example, who came in the month of April and churned in the month of November, so we would have revenues only up till the October month. Since the customer is left, there will be no revenues in the future months. If he comes back again, we could just add it back over here. Then let's start by building a pivot table. So build a new sheet where I'm going to say that I want my monthly cohorts to be in my rows. And I'm going to have months in my columns, customer IDs as values. So I do not want the days, I want the month and the years. So I'm going to have that. I want it to be in a tabular form. So I have got June 2022, and these are my cohorts, January of 2022, February 2022, March 2022, and so on. But my monthly cohorts. Now, what is this? These are for people, for the customers that were acquired in January. After 3 months, is there a user that is churned or no? This is the data that will be shown in these columns. So for example, for the customers or users that were acquired in the month of March, one user churned after 3 months, another user churned after 4 months. Similarly, for the users acquired in May 2022, a customer churned after 6 months, 6 months after May. So if we see, for example, we can, for the month of March, if we say we have got a customer who has left after 3 months, we can go and check it over here. So yeah, for customer number 78, came in the month of March and cancel date was the month of June. So 3 months of active service, active subscription, which can be reflected over here. So the customer has left us after 3 months. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this table. I don't need the totals right now, so I'm going to copy it and form a new sheet. I'm going to just paste the values. I need these two. I don't need different columns for these. I just need one column. So I'm just going to put them together. I need it this way. Special. And now I do not need these two columns. Okay. So these are my cohorts.
Alisha,
Yes,
just one thing.
Hmm.
Can you show that the 3 months cohort that we received 3 months of revenue for March, and that so that it becomes more clear that how the revenues are there?
Yeah, revenue. This is just based customer
Okay.
revenue will come into net retention.
Fine.
That analysis comes in later. So this is just based on the number of customers that we are finding right now. So just going to bring this grand total over here. So grand total is basically the number of customers, the total customers that belong to that particular cohort. So for January cohort, the total number of users that were registered in the month of January was just one customer. If you go to December cohort, so the users registered in the month of December was 4, total number of customers. You can go and cross check over here. And just add in a filter. Search for monthly cohorts. December. You'll have 4 users. So the customers is just the total number of customers that were acquired in that particular period. We do not need this column as we will building it later on. So now we have the churn rate. We're going to use this data. Yeah. So we just need to know the active number of users after 3 months, after 4 months, after 6 months, or after 7 months. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add in months over here. So these are my total customers, and I'm just going to deduct any customer that is churned away from that. Forward. So what does this tell me? So I had initially 2 customers that came in that cohort. After 3 months, I still have 2 customers left. So there's 100% retention. After 4 months, there are still 2 customers left. And even after 7 months, there are still 2 customers left. There's 100% retention. For the August cohort, for example, there was 1 customer who joined initially, and after 3 months, after 4 months, 6 months, and 7 months, there's still 1 customer left. So again, 100% retention. For May, the case is different. There was 1 customer. After 3 months, there's 100% retention. After 4 months, again, there is 100% retention. But after 6 months, there is 0% retention. That 1 customer has churned. So it becomes easy for a business to analyze as to what happened, what went wrong in this month for that particular cohort. Was there some strategy that went wrong? And why has this happened? Or there was some, if you're doing it based on geography, then was something that happened in that geography that led to this churn rate. It could be analyzed that way. Now, this is still, you have to go and manually look for those numbers. What you can also do is just convert it into percentages. So you're going to say for the January quarter, this is my base for January. So I'm going to take this divided by the same number and increase the column. So going forward. So when you look at it in percentages, it makes it easier to analyze. Also, we're going to add in conditional formatting. Let me just. Good. We're going to try to make it like a heat map where it becomes better to analyze. So we can say, like, if you look at the March cohort, out of 100%, now this is obviously going to be 100% because those are the total number of customers that were acquired in that period. So for the March cohort, after 3 months, there's 67% retention. That means there is some customer that is churned, or we only have 1 customer that's churned here, but based on some other example, it could be more or less. But this will give you the same data, but in a percentage format. So there's 33% retention. After 7 months, there's 33% retention again. So May cohort, after 6 months, you have 0% retention. That means the customers have churned. So this will help you look at it as a heat map, and you can like have a better analysis. Like it's just the same data, but presented in a better way. So this is customer retention based on the number of customers, the number of users, how many users have been retained after a particular time over the period of time. So after 3 months, after 4 months, and so on and so forth. Since we had churn rates in these months, we've taken only those months. It like if you have churn rates in between these months, say after 5 months, there is another churn happening, it could be reflected in this, and there'll be another column added with 5 months. Is this clear up till now? The customer retention part.
Yes.
So this was based on the number of users. The second thing that we're going to do is based on revenue, or net revenue retention is also called as a dollar revenue retention. So we're going to analyze based on revenues. Since this was a monthly cohort, now we can try and a different example with a quarterly cohort. So again, I just need the quarters. So the pivot table. Need a quarterly cohort here. So just need these values. So what I want to do is I want the sum of all the revenues of customers that came in the Q1 of 2022. So I'm just going to add in sum ifs function. So my range for the first quarter is going to be March, since the quarter ends here. So I'm going to say the month of March. This is my range. My criteria is quarterly cohort over here. So I'm going to select this range. And I want only the Q1 totals. I'm going to freeze the. So I've got $150 that came from the Q1 cohort. You can go and check it. Just going to take Q1, and for month of March, that is the end of the quarter, I've got $150 of revenue generated, which is being reflected over here. Now I'm going to pull the formula for later years, but for later quarters. But what I'll have to do is I'll have to change the sum range. So this is now going to be a different column since Q2. I'm going to look over here. Q2 ends in June, so I need the N column. I'm just going to change this. All the other things are going to be same. For Q3, I need the end of September, so that's going to be column Q.
But a small doubt here, Alisha.
Yeah.
Quarter is supposed to be all the 3 months put together.
Yes.
So you have taken
But
only the third month. So
yeah, so I'm analyzing only on that. I'm analyzing it on the month end, like at the quarter end. So we're going to take only that quarter because we are assuming that cohort. So we are assuming that this includes the payments received by the people that have been, the users that have joined in that cohort. So it will include all of these.
okay, joined. Okay.
Yes, combined. So in any month, in January or February, if you see these users are still active over here. So I just need the active users that are there in that quarter.
Got it.
If someone has churned previously, I am not looking at it right now. I mean, it is included, it is already included in this analysis. We are also going to look at it separately. So
Got it.
right
Got it.
now, yeah. So if you're taking it annually, you're only going to take the December month data. And then similarly for Q4, it's going to be column T. So I'm just going to change it here. And these are my revenues. I'm just going to drag these forward. As you see, these numbers are going to be 0 and not going to require them. Why are they 0? Because for Q2 2022, for this cohort, there will obviously be no revenue because these customers are acquired in Q2. There will be no revenue generated in Q1. And that is why you started from here. Similarly, for Q3, users that come in Q3, revenue will be generated only from the beginning of Q3 of 2022. So cohort, these kinds of cohort will go diagonal rather than, just having it in a table format. So these are the revenues. If you could just go and cross-check one of them for cohort of Q2 2022, the Q4 2022 revenue would be Q2. This is the revenue, which is 55 is the sum. And we have 55 over here. Yeah. So these are the dollar revenues that are being generated. Now you can go and see for Q1, the users acquired in Q1 had an initial revenue of 150. But in the subsequent quarter, the Q2 of 2022, they generated a revenue of only 130. That means there is a downselling happening. Downselling by an amount of 20. For users acquired in Q2 of 2022, they initially generated $100 revenue, in the Q3 of 2022, they have generated 110. That means there is upselling that is happening. In the next month, it falls down to 55. There isn't downselling that is happening. Now, this also we could create into an heat map, like we did for the customer retention. So, say this is my base. So this could be like, you have to do it manually because you have nothing in the previous columns. So you can see there is the revenue retention for Q1 cohort in Q2 was only 87%. Going forward, it falls by another 67%. And after Q4, the revenue retention is still 67%. In Q2 of 2022, what happens now? Net revenue retention can be more than 100% because it captures upselling, right? So we are capturing that the customers is spending more than what they used to initially. So net revenue retention can be more than 100%. In Q4, for the cohort acquired, for the users acquired in Q2, it is only 55% of the revenue that is retained. You can go and you can like map it to the customer retention schedule. So you'd say in Q1, there is a revenue retention of only 67% after third quarter or after fourth quarter. Why is it happening so? You can go and see that in the month of March, we had some churned customers. So you can go and cross verify what is happening. Why is the revenues falling? It might be due to the churned customers, or it might be due to downselling. Anything could be a reason.
Yeah, Alisha, I'll just give a quick example here. So consider this as a OTT platform, let's say Hotstar, right? So for Hotstar, initially the customers were paying, then you don't get, you see all series which you want to see, and then you don't resubscribe it for next couple of months. And then there comes an IPL season and you see a surge in revenue. So this seasonality is captured in this cohort analysis, where you can see that earlier in Q2 it was 100. When there was an IPL season or a seasonality of a business, the revenue have spiked up. And once the season has completed, the IPL season has been completed, the revenue has come down by 50% because people are now moving out to some different customer choices or different platform. So this type of analysis helps us to understand when is your uh, platform working, or else how is your platform doing in terms of SaaS product. Let's say if you're saying if you are considering a Microsoft 365 subscription or Google Drive subscription or Amazon subscription. So for them, the customer churn rate is almost 100, but once you start paying, a paid customer cannot go down, cannot give up the Prime services because they have other services. Like in Prime, you can store data. So if you quit that service, the entire data goes off. So you need to understand why that business model is critical. Why will customer be with you in long run? So for that purpose, we need to create these cohorts. So there was a question saying that how cohort works in case of initial period when there is no fees to use platform, app, or services. So whenever a new product is developed, we need to test it whether customers are liking it or not. How much is the app? Because you cannot understand everything. Like there are 10 lakh downloads, but how many active customers? You might have seen it in Shark Tank, right? Those sharks were asking, okay, you have 7 lakh customers downloaded, but how many of them are paid customers? how many of them are active customers. So that will help you understand, this cohort helps them understand what is the active customers and whether they should invest in the company or business or not. Yep. Yes, Alisha, you can go ahead.
Yeah. So this was net revenue retention rate, where you capture upselling, you capture downselling, you also capture the churn. And this is based on like dollar retention or revenue retention. And now moving forward. So gross revenue retention and net revenue retention. Now, gross revenue retention is nothing but, it captures only the downsell and churn. So the formula could simply be your beginning total revenue minus the downselling minus the churn that has happened divided by your beginning total revenue. So this is a formula for gross revenue retention. So it basically just captures downselling and churn, whereas the net revenue retention would capture upsell, downsell, and churn, all the three items. So I've got a table built over here. Since we are assuming that the business is starting in the month of January, there'll be no beginning total revenue. There are additions in the month of January, upsell, downsell, churn. There will be nothing in the first month. The ending revenue is just a summation of all these items. Now, why sum? Because I have taken the downsell and the churn numbers over here to be negative. So when I sum, it gets captured. Now going forward, this like upsell, if there is an upsell, I have the amounts over here. If there is a downsell, I have got the amounts over here. Like there's a downsell by $5. And the churn rate, if the customers have left the business or have stopped subscribing to the business, then we have got the churn amounts. We have got the ending total revenue. And for the gross revenue retention, it's nothing but the formula being applied, which I've written over here. So it's the beginning total revenue plus the downsell and the churn divided by the beginning total revenue. And this gross revenue retention rate will never be more than 100% because it does not capture any upsell. So if there is a difference in the revenue, it will be only due to downsell or churn, which are negative amounts. So it will be only less than 100% or 100%, but never exceed 100%. Net revenue retention can go above 100% again because it captures upsell as well. So you can have these retention rates monthly or again quarterly, and you can plot them into a line graph, which would show you your retention over a period of time. So I'm analyzing it for a year. So from beginning from January 2022 to December 2022, how are my margin or how my rates playing out based on revenues? How am I like selling more or less? Will be analyzed through these kind of charts. Do you have like any doubts in this particular section?
So that means
Net revenue. Okay. Shilpa, go ahead.
That means this is kind of, this is usually asked in any of the negotiations. Am I right, Alisha?
Yes, it could be a question like how much of your revenue are you being able to retain?
Okay, get that.
Yeah.
And Shilpa, it also helps as a valuer to justify a higher valuation or a lower valuation. So if we say that yes, the retention revenue, this gross retention revenue is pretty good on an average quarterly, it's 70%, 80%, or else net revenue goes is in the range of 50% to 120%. So and hence we are giving an extra value or adding some value that will help you to differentiate this business model with their peers, where you get the data of the peers, if you can get the data of the peers.
Okay.
Yeah, Alisha, I just wanted to confirm that in net revenue retention, we're also considering upscaling, right?
Yes.
That's the difference between both,
Yes.
between gross and net.
Right.
And also this cohort analysis more relevant for SaaS companies, subscription-based companies, or we can do it for any other kind of companies also, where there's no subscription model?
I feel it's more useful for subscription-based models because you will have the users based on the subscriber.
See, you can also use it for retail-based models, but maximum it is used for this tech companies use this. So this is purely for tech companies. The main driver for tech companies, to be frank.
Okay. And like these percentages, whatever retention rate we have calculated, so whenever investor is looking at this analysis, so what is a good number for them, is which makes them to invest in the company? This is the good number. Any idea about that?
It is subjective and changes varies from industry to industry, to be frank. So anything about, let's see, if you have a good churn, less churn, that is better. Means your numbers should be good in terms of, I would say, more than 70%. You are doing excellent. If you are doing between 50 to 70%, you are average. But purely it depends from industry to industry. For example, I say Amazon, right? For Amazon, the customer retention rate is high because you cannot lose the customer, because if customer is lost, he is out of multiple revenues. For example, it can be out from cloud storage, from Amazon Prime, then he is again out from your Prime videos, so the revenue loss is pretty high. But in for others it can vary on a seasonal basis. So you need to understand the business model, and based on that your churn rates will be decided, and revenue, the margins range will be decided, and you need to benchmark it with the peers to understand which is better and which is not.
Yeah. Okay, Mayur. Thank you so much.
So that was pretty much it. I'm open to questions now.
Alisha, before we start
Yeah.
the questions, would you
Hmm.
like the poll to be launched?
Yeah, you could do it now or you could do it later on, like it depends. So I feel the questions would be better.
Okay,
It helps to answer the questions.
okay. I would like to launch the poll when, or you would like to see the chat?
Yeah, are there any questions? Let me just
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sure.
This is largely cohorts or largely a two-dimensional, or can we do multi-dimensional? How easy it is to do in Excel?
Excel, it is pretty feasible. I mean, even if you have a large number of data. So it's just basically you're building the cohorts using a pivot, or you have to just add in a sum of formula. But if it could be a bit tedious when you have like, it's just 12 months that we have over here. If you have like 48 months or even like 4, 5, 6, 7 years, then it could be a bit tedious.
No, it's generally used in Excel, and then how it is analyzed is changed. Like if it's monthly, it's easy. Then the preference changes from monthly to quarterly, or quarterly to annual, so that we understand different scenarios that where the problem lies in. So how it is done is, if it's a 10 years data, first yearly cohorts are prepared. From that, the months where you find something is wrong, then you will go for a quarterly or a monthly pivot. You can even prepare a pivot on a weekly and daily basis to understand the problem in this customer retention, or what happened on that particular day. So for example, our stock markets react to some news, right? The same way some news can help grow the customers or get down the customers. To give you a simple example, when Valley Bank was crashed, there was a down sell, like all of a sudden all the stock market went down. So similarly, with some such information, your customers are going down, then how are you tackling up? Or else if there is a COVID situation, how did you pivot your business model to retain the customers? For that reason, the analysis is done on monthly or weekly basis.
Thanks, Mayur. I think the question is, will or can you help? See, a two-dimensional way of looking, can we expand it in Excel more than two-dimensional? Because otherwise you may end up getting some spurious correlations in analysis. So how easy or difficult it is to do a little more, like for example, three-dimensional, four-dimension. I'm assuming some subtotals or some other methods one can use it.
Yes, we do use it, and we prepare multiple cohorts for that.
Achha. Okay, you do independently multiple cohorts and collectively make an analysis.
Yes.
Thank you.
Just a sample, I will just show how. Yep. There are other questions, right?
Yeah, so there was one from Vijaya Kumar. Please explain the table. Which table?
So, okay, just leave that because
Yeah.
it was very old. We
Okay.
can see of how cohort in case of initial period when there is no fee. So cohort will help us to understand customer retention. Instead of fees, there will be number of app downloads and retention in app downloads. So instead of dollar terms, we will see how many downloads were there, how many, and after how many days they were not used or active logins are there.
Mayur, are there any tools for doing the cohort analysis? Because see, when the volumes become very dynamic and if there are various variables, then Excel might be difficult. Like someone is talking about Amazon here.
Yeah.
So the various streams of revenue and lot of churn and lot of variables. So is it possible to do it in Excel?
It is possible to do it in Excel. The other ways is you can use Python to by preparing a code, or else Tableau and Power BI can be very handy because they are meant for large databases.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's there actually. Tableau and Power BI can be used probably. Yeah, thanks. And a little different question. Now this is done for sales and revenue.
Right.
Is there any such analysis being done from the valuer side for the cost side? Because based on that, gross margins will be changing, right? So is there any such thing, or it is only done internally by the companies?
No, we do it for cost as well to understand where the cost is going up, down, whether we are spending too much, whether we are spending too less, or else what is their customer acquisition cost can be derived from this.
Okay, there is such analysis for cost as well. Okay,
Yes.
maybe that can be a different session if you want to take. We'll park it for now.
Yeah, sure. Then there is another question. Okay. Would you also explain how do we use this for the analysis of customer relationship? Sir, if there is a customer relationship, right? So again, it will not be in terms of dollar terms, but it will be in terms of active customers and left off customers that who left your platform. So whenever there are active customers, that will show that you have good customer service, and hence people are with you. Then there is from Shyam sir, depending on cost of acquisition of customer, depends on cost of acquisition of each customer. So can you just let me know what exactly you need? Yes. Hello. Yeah, would we prepare a cohort of for different segments? Yes, we can prepare it for each different segment, and also do a consolidated cohort. And usually it is done on a segment by segment basis, and then we consolidate it. How can I retain customers by using cohort? Sir, this will help you to plan your strategy. Cohort will let you know how many customers are retained and when they left. So if you want to increase retention time, you need to sit with your strategy guy and plan the strategy so that the company can retain the customers in long run. So for example, I gave the IPL stuff, right? So now what did Reliance Jio did to attract more customers and retain them in long term? They purchased all the IPL rights. Now through their platform, Jio platform, they will be broadcasting those matches. Apart from that, if you see, Reliance has majority stake in the cable industry. So from that as well, they will get benefited because they have now retained more customers in cable, because cable is uh, trending towards dying down. Slowly people are moving from cable operators to OTT platforms. So they have maintained the balance in both the scenarios. By just getting those IPL rights on a Geo platform, they will now have more customers in cable as well as on Geo. Can we use cohort in DTH business, direct to home businesses? Yes, sir, we can use cohort for that. Suppose we take the example of Amazon Audibility here. They provide 3 months subscription through Google Pay coupons. If I get a Audible coupon every quarter and I just use a coupon of my friend and redeem it in my account, will it be treated as churn? As the company is not earning from it, it still is a free subscription. Sir, this is we need to understand if whether the phone number remains active or not. So if it changes from after 3 months, it will be considered as a churn. If the number is retained, then we will consider that the company is using it for 6 months. How to use cohort for calculating ARR, annual recurring revenues? Alisha,
Yes, sir.
I think we had one model of ARR, right? Annual recurring revenue.
Yes.
Can you just share it on this? Just one thing. Shilpa ma'am, can you just pause the video recording for the time being so that we can just show the actual data? We don't want it to be public. Actual live case example, basically.
Okay, can I pause the video, sir? Mayur sir, can I pause?
Yeah, please pause it for some time. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Shall I run the poll?
Yes, please. Yes, please. And if there are any other questions, we can then take after the poll.
I request everyone to answer the poll because the poll report will be submitted to the IBBI. In fact, they have gone ahead and asked us this, how many, there is one report which comes from Zoom, like how many times you were on, like logged in and in the session. Like just in case you have logged in now initially and then, come out of the session, then attendance report captures your complete attendance. So you will be there in the registration report, which comes out of the Zoom, which was earlier only that was a report which we were submitting to IBBA. Now even attendance report is submitted. This attendance report of Zoom captures your every login into the Zoom for this session. And normally we are following the practice. If someone has just registered themselves, came for 5 minutes and then they are out, we do not issue any CEP to those participants because this is in line with the IBBA guidelines. Yes, last 5-10 minutes of the session, if you are not there, yes, that could be okay. But IBBA guidelines are very strict. So we request you to be continuously be available, answer the poll questions and be in the Zoom session.
Mayur, with your permission, can I just also discuss that part of someone asking how important it is for the value when the projections are given by the management?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I think one of the thing I think as I always discuss with fellow valuers is we are managing. I think someone recently has questioned also. We are supposed to be independent. We are supposed to verify. Because the management has given a value projection does not mean that we are supposed to consider that at all. That was never an intention of a valuer. Valuer is supposed to determine whether what is possible, and make necessary adjustments. So to that extent, I'm sure this cohort analysis does gives us an idea and question the management how it is possible. And if the answers of the management are satisfactory, then you can continue. And if it's not satisfactory, you need not consider the projections of the management, in my view. Is that right, Mayur?
Yes, sir. I will just give my recent experience. Management always tries to oversell the things. And when we sit with the investor brings us to the ground reality. And there this cohort analysis helps us to justify our numbers. So whether we have done it, not done it. So I was working with a plan of for next year, and actually we are working for more than 3 years where we investors and management is on conflict. That investor is saying that they are bullish on their expectation and management is saying they are bullish using this cohort analysis, and investors are saying no, you cannot grow considering your historical trend. And we are still struggling to convince the investor, but as of now we have convinced him 90% that yes, we can achieve what we have delivered, and the cohort was the basis for it. Also that helped the management to diversify from their business segment where they were earning a lot of revenue but no margins to a smaller higher margin segment, and that will be the course ahead with for which investor agreed to give them 11 crore rupees of line of credit, extra line of credit, just to expand in that vertical. So that is somewhere your projections and cohort come together when you sit on a table and negotiate with the investor.
It's more on consultancy advisory role as a valuer rather than Section 247 compliance related.
Right.
And in some cases, if already client or Mayur has already made this analysis, yes, as a registered valuer, I can rely on that and give a better valuation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we need to justify, and even after 5 years, if someone asks us, right, we will have this analysis ready because we don't remember what we have done, but this analysis can quickly help you remember that something was done, and you can just present this report to them at that time, because all the reports which we sign today are pretty simple, but there will be questions coming in 2 to 5 years down the line.
Yeah, actually, even I'm thinking, it's just a matter of time that, as a registered valuer, we could be questioned either by an investor or by any court of law or like any founder related, disputes. It's just a matter of, because now only we are starting this startup wave.
Yes.
Yeah. So the poll question is very easy. As you can see, cohort means a group of people. So we'll go ahead with the next question, Mayur.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mayur, would you like to explain this? It's actually simple. Should you explain or shall we go ahead?
We should go ahead. I don't think we need anything. Cohort helps observe. Okay, just let's explain it so that we have there. Yeah, cohort analysis helps business to observe how new customers or customers pattern change. So that will help us to understand how many customers are coming on the platform and how many customers are leaving from the platform. Yeah, next question, Shilpa. Net revenue retention rate.
Mr. Shyam Pramad, actually one announcement, you have shared your link in the group. That's why we see many people joining in your name. So next time you'll have to re-forward the same link what we are sending initially and not. This
Yeah, I realized it, but I didn't comment anything in the group.
No problem. No. Just an advice for everyone. Like, I'm confused. There are too many Shyam Prabhats.
Yeah.
And I request maybe the person, whoever Shyam Prasad is, you have to log out of the session and log in, because for CEP you will have an issue. Vijay will not be able to know, in the system, it will, when she generates report, it will come Shyam Prabhat only, even though you have changed your name. So I request, we'll pause
Do I
here
need
for
to
2
log out?
minutes. Yeah, please log out and log in. And please tell your chat, put chat in your chat, whoever has joined through that link, Sham Prabhat, no? Please give your contact number and, your correct name so that, Vijay will reach out to you. In fact, maybe I should have asked Mr. Sham to remove the link immediately. And now I'm realizing.
I have removed it after half an hour.
Okay. Okay. Vijay, please make a note of this chat, no? While issuing CPRs, we can just give to the rightful person.
Okay, ma'am, sure.
Yeah. We are just pausing for 1 or 2 minutes so that all of them join back. Any other thing which any other members would like to share? Just you would like to share or you would ask questions? Please go ahead now. I will be launching the poll later, after 2-3 minutes.
Sir, net revenue retention is always can be greater than 100 because it considers both addition of new customers as well as deletion of new customers. That is nothing but upscaling and downscaling. Whereas gross revenue retention will only consider downscaling, losing of the customers or revenue, and not the vice versa.
Yeah, Mr. Mayur,
Yep.
this is Deepak on the side.
Mhm.
I just wanted to add a question in the chat. I think maybe it missed out in the flow. Basically, that in retail sales or
Yes.
retail and mall, I think especially with that is the walk-ins as well as the time variation when the business is high, days, the trends. Is Cohort used extensively?
Yes, it is used to start a business of where in malls. I prepared one thing. Let me see if I can just open that. I prepared it for the US company which wanted to set up around 80 outlets in Indian malls, and they were looking at which mall they should go and why. So that time this cohort helps us that on weekend there we had analyzed that on weekend there is like footfall of 1.5 lakh customers, and on weekdays it is
Exactly.
around 30,000 customers, and we found the best malls where the maximum footfall is there. Apart from that, we also checked whether there is a sales going on, because malls there is always a footfall, but
Right.
are people buying in that
It's a
mall is
conversion.
also conversion.
Yes.
So for that we did an analysis.
Okay.
So Mayur, how did you get the data? Like these data, small owners will only provide you, right? How did you get the access to so much data for all these malls?
So you need to talk to the mall owner once you have a mandate, right? Because these guys also need to rent out the places and they charge premium. So when you say that, okay, I instead of 10,000 rupees per square foot, you are asking me 15,000 rupees, then what is the basis for that? And then they will give you the data, and then you can prepare the cohort and present it to the client.
Okay.
Because mall owners have all the data. And we had that company was playing the same way. We had this e-learning, like coding for students. So they used to make coding classes in malls where you can just leave your child there to do and play coding related games, and then you can go for shopping, and by the time you come back he completes that 2 to 3 hours of the course, and he prepares a simple app or a game and he is also happy, you are also happy, because you don't have to run behind your kids in the mall. So that was the business model they were working on. I cannot get that presentation right away, but we'll be happy to connect a one-on-one if anyone wants it.
Mayur, discussion on poll,
Mhm.
customer retention. I was also not clear. Customer retention shows.
Uh,
So may I?
Yeah.
Yeah. So customer retention would show the churned customers by cohorts. Revenue generated by cohorts will be shown by the net revenue retention or the gross revenue retention. When you're looking at customer retention in particular, you would be looking at the churned customers.
Churned customers are customers who already or no more customers.
No more customers. Yeah. Those customers who are no longer generating revenue for the business.
Okay.
One question over here, if churn customer, when you are talking, the retention ratio, hello?
Yeah.
The retention which you are saying, addition or deletion, both are covered under the net revenue, na?
Net revenue covers addition, deletion, as well as
Upsell
upselling.
and downsell.
Yes.
Upsell
Upsell,
and
downsell,
downsell.
as well as churn.
Plus churn.
Yeah.
Alisha,
Yes, sir.
just to understand churn, so when some customers stop purchasing for few months and then again they come back.
Yeah.
So is that also churn, or somebody unsubscribes?
Hmm.
Then they are actually out. So that is part of retention, like they are not retained. So how do you bifurcate these two things?
Yeah, so the like you can include when the customer has turned and comes back after a few months, for example, you can probably include them into a different cohort, or you can keep them in the same cohort and continue as if the customer is an active customer now. So there are these two types which you can analyze it as. Either you put them into a new cohort. Say, for example, a customer has churned away in the month of March, but comes back in the month of July. So you either classify that customer as into the July cohort, or you can keep that customer into the March cohort and show that it is now again an active customer and it is generating revenue.
So if the customer, if we have a churn, does that mean that the retention rate comes down?
Yes, it will, until the customer starts generating revenue again. So if there is a churn, then the retention rate will obviously be lower. If the customer comes back again, the retention rate would be higher again.
Sir, we need to analyze it based on a case-to-case basis here. So to give you a simple example, if you are looking for customer chain for an OTT platform where IPL is showed, so there is a certain segment of customers who only subscribe to those OTT platforms for this IPL season. Then they go back. Or else if there is a good web series coming in on let's say Z5, then people go for a month on Z5, watch that movie, and then they go out. So you need to understand how you want to prioritize it. So it will be decided based on customer strategic thing, like whether investor wants those one-time hiccups, or he is considering them as he's not considering them in a valuation game. So if he is considering, we will consider it as a customer. If he says, no, we don't want to see those surge coming in, we won't value them, then we will just move out of that. We will have a different cohort saying that these are the one-time customers, these are different customer sets.
Alisha, you would like to take the poll answer?
Yeah, so gross revenue retention includes only the downsell and churn rates. It does not include upsell.
Yeah. Actually, one of the participant was asking on the poll 3 questions. So I'm just for the benefit of the participant, he wanted to know the correct answer.
Yeah, so the correct answer for this, net revenue retention rate can be more than 100% because it does include upselling.
Are these industry definitions or is
These are definitions, sir.
industry definition?
Industry definitions, yes.
Because it's paradox, it's a contradictory. You use the word retention. Retention means whatever is there, you retain only that. So it should not be more than 100%.
Net revenue retention, because it includes upselling. So I mean, it is the additional revenue that is generated apart from the usual subscription revenue.
But then the word retention itself is wrong. That was the question I had. If you use anything, you are retaining it. You cannot retain something which is more than what is there. That's why I asked whether it's an industry definition or it's a definition. So the definition itself, the words are wrong.
That is how it is defined.
So we won't comment on that because we will go more in detail and get back to you right
It is an
now.
observation, that's all. Sorry.
Yeah. No, that's fine. That's not an issue. We even understood it right now. We were using blindly that this is upsell and this is downsell, to be frank.
Yeah, Mayur, what kind of challenges?
How the net revenue in the net revenue retention ratio, you are taking upscaling, whereas in gross, you are not taking the upscaling. You are taking only churning and downsizing.
Yes.
Yes, sir. That is the definition. We didn't go beyond that.
And one more question: in case of the mall which you have talked right now, the 80 malls which you are analyzing. So in a particular city or the in India, maybe 500 malls are there. So whether you have limited your review for 80 malls, and that again you are reaching to the mall owner for all the 80 places, and then you got the data. How you will get all the data for all the 80 or 100 malls?
Sir, here we went to so this was a entire task. They wanted to come in 80 malls. We did it. Pilot project was done in Mumbai and Pune, where we went to each mall and actually checked this data. And based on that, we created one analysis report and sent it to them. And we were planning to go to the next once we launch in once we do one pilot successful complete in Mumbai. That was the plan at that time. But then due to virtual things and other stuff, they moved away and they pivoted their program to entirely to online thing. We had White Hat Junior, right? It was same concept as that of White Hat Junior, which was started way ago in San Francisco, before the White Hat Junior was started, almost like 3-4 years before them. And it was successful, and they implemented it in US in more than 60 malls in San Francisco and California area. And then they decided to expand by taking the next round of funding. And then the India was there, Australia was their second market, and UK was their third market.
Mr. Mayur or Alisha, this poll question?
Yeah, it is like everyone has answered it right. It is a tool to measure user engagement over time.
Yeah, Mayur.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, while valuing the cloud kitchen business valuation,
Mm-hmm.
I think the repeat orders has a good significance.
Yes.
So for that, we should use cohort or we should rely on only DCF model.
So DCF will just give. So how will you show the investor that value? Because see, if there are repetitive orders, right, your cohort will help you show a significant thing and make a cohort based on customers, that number of customers who are repeating.
Right.
That will help you better justify your valuation and get funding easier.
Okay.
So cohort is part of an analysis which we do
Right.
and justify our DCF.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Alisha, whole question answer.
Yeah, so benefit of cohort analysis is increase customer retention because like it will help you better to analyze the retention in the previous periods and better devise a strategy to increase your retention, increase the customer retention, or maybe like better your marketing strategy to help retain the customers in a better way.
The last poll question, friends.
Hello, Mr. Mayur, I have one question.
Yes, sir.
So like you said that, for by this cohort analysis, it is better to, provide a better projections for DCF or any, for DCF. So what kind of other analysis you are using for, support of DCF projections?
So for me, if I want to support DCF, if it's an established company, we use comparables like industry and trading comps and transaction comps.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's a new concept where we need to justify that valuation is higher and there is no other peer and we have to do a DCF, right? So
Mm-hmm.
cohort help us to dominate justify the things basically. It's more about getting a value, then you need some basis, right? Because
Correct.
saying like our growth will be 100% growing ahead
Mm-hmm.
doesn't make sense. But if you have 30 days history and you say that, okay, this was the pattern, based on this pattern behavior, we have seen increase in customers and we are extrapolating the same thing in our future projections.
Correct,
So
correct.
that will help you defend your valuation in good way in front of any authority as well as in front of law.
Yes, yes. So my question was related that, like, I understand that cohort definitely help, comparative help. So is there, like, I heard cohort just because of this webinar only. I haven't heard about the cohort before. So is there any such more analysis which you are normally do? Like what we do SWOT analysis, company past
Yes.
history analysis, or comparables if it is available with the industry. So these the things normally I do for any company valuation, whether it's a startup or, for startup generally we don't find much comparison, but how the company is, what kind of founders they have, what kind of team. So for startup you have to add something to
Yes.
justify. So like I had covered because of this webinar, so I'm very thankful for both for all of you for because of that. So what I am asking that, is there any such thing which I might not be aware of?
So we generally use cohort and this Barker's method and all those things to justify a strong hold of a promoter in a company, and that's why we value it on a higher pace, like their team building ability, their problem solving skills. That is something which I personally go back and ask the questions to the promoter that, hey, if you want funding of 150 crores, what differentiate you from XYZ? Or if someone copies you, how will you be able to be successful implementing your business better than them. So if they can give you a good, reasonably good answer with some justifications of practical life. For example, I have helped a company to scale, a startup to scale from 3 people team to 300 people team and set up an office in Delhi and sitting in Pune. Brings me an added advantage saying to someone else that, okay, I will set up the company in Delhi or in Pune. If they have done it in historically, or if they know, I know 5 people who can give me funding, and these are the 5 names who have already signed a term sheet with us. I have shown the interest, and this should be genuineness. You need to check with them, and then you can show that what is your team building capacity. So for example, I have considered Infosys board member to be one of our consultant, and that will bring value. So that's what we check while we value a startup, because otherwise it's purely a number, and numbers can be changed from 1% to 100%, and valuation can be changed from 1 crore to 100 crores. But to justify these things, I always ask them for their practical life examples. If you can do it in historically, there is high probability that you can do it again, because the next time you do it, you will do it in a better way, and the chances of success are high.
Right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, this cohort analysis, Alisha, is this the right over a period of time, right?
Yes, over a period of time. Yeah.
Yes, anyone else has any question, or can we conclude the session?
I have one question, Shilpa. Mr. Mayur, post your cohort analysis, you prepare kind of a qualitative report, why there's been up sales, down sales. Like you were giving an example of Hotstar.
Yes.
What happens is suppose again one fan code comes, he has subscription rights for one particular series. Then the customer base starts migrating to the other service provider.
Right.
So do you prepare a kind of qualitative analysis post the cohort in Excel?
We generally see this depends upon what is the assignment taken by us. So if they ask us for strategic advice, yes, we do the entire thing. We just present them that this is the basis, and based on this, we have concluded that the customer was more, there was retention of customer because of this XYZ series. And then we just leave the decision making to the owners. We just present the things. We don't take any decision on behalf of them.
Okay, thank you.
Vijay, can you share your screen? Now I request Mr. Ganesh Ramani to extend formal vote of thanks for today's speaker, both Mr. Mayur and Alisha.
Thanks, Shilpa. Good morning, everyone. Thank you. It was a wonderful session, Alisha. I think one aspect that I think Mayur and you bring together every time is also the practical exposure of how to use Microsoft Excel, other tools to perform the tasks that one has to do. So the practicality aspect is a critical aspect for all the valuers here, for all the audience here, because we do understand the theory, but when it comes to practice, we start struggling from day one. The second thing I think that is critical is one, it is important for valuation. Second thing is it is for business strategy and business planning. I think that's where you try to bring in, because the better assessment and analysis of the data, the outcome of valuation is far richer as compared to a generic thumb rules, and your defense to any questions is far more powerful. And that's exactly what this cohort analysis topic brings in. And you guys did a wonderful job. You tried to answer. I think this is one of the best sessions in terms of nearly 30 to 40 minutes question and answers. I think this could be a trend setter, because most of the time we do not have enough time for Q&A. and we end up going with half knowledge. So I think thank you very much. It's a well-planned session. Over to you, Shilpa.
On behalf of Bangalore Valuers Association, Vijaya, can you share your screen now?
Yes.
A small memento on behalf of Bangalore Valuers Association. And I also appeal to everyone in this session to volunteer, to help us. Mayur is also one of the BVA member, as you all are aware. So please become our member. Tell your friends to become BVA member, and volunteer to extend the speaker. Any specific topic you would like to know, to have a session, you would like to have BVA session on any of the topic, or you are aware of any speaker, please help us to connect to them. This is a platform which we want to use for the benefit of all of us. Okay, please, help us to help all of you. And yes, Mayur, this small token of gratitude on behalf of BVA, this will be separately couriered to Wheaton advisors. Okay, anything else? One more thing, Mayur, on behalf of all the participants, I would like to request you, if you could share the Excel, if you could share the PPT, it will be really beneficial for us.
We will share it right away.
Yeah, thank you. Mayur, one more thing, like one of the other participants was suggesting, is there any report which comes out of all of this analysis, or is it just an interaction, or is it just a consultation, or, over a meetings with is it just the Excel which gets shared with the ultimate, promoter, or report?
No, we prepare a report summarizing things, because promoters don't have time to go through everything. We just share them the final output. I will just let me see. Can you just give me screen sharing rights?
Yeah, it's there. Would you like to stop the recording, or is it okay?
Yeah, this is okay. This is not related to that. I just gave a simple thing. So this is a sample which we prepared. So we prepare this type of sample and send it to the client.
This is the final outcome of the analysis.
Yes, so that, and then we just sit with them, explain them everything, that what needs to be done, and then they have their strategy guys who take a point, make points of these points and decide their future strategy.
I got it. Okay. No detailed report as such, right? Like
we can give, it depends upon how is the engagement, to be frank, and these engagements are like on a continuous basis. So we prepare a presentation of 5-6 slides, send it to them, then they come back to us after a month or 2 months once they do some changes, and they will ask us to redo the analysis and then send us our conclusions.
Oh, okay.
So it is more about presenting the data in PPT format, because it is more about telling the story that what is happening wrong in the system or what is happening right. So if I usually prefer to get a meeting with the client and explain things, because we tend to explain it better than just sending a report, because we are not that good in analyzing all the, explaining all the things in the word format.
Correct. Thanks everyone for your patient listening. Have a happy weekend. Thanks all. Thank you so much, Alisha.
Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Mayur, for choosing a very different topic and helping us to understand about cohort analysis.
Yeah, thanks, Shilpa.
Okay, bye all.
Bye all. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone has any issues with CEP on this? Like you have chosen a wrong thing, but you are not able to use the right registration, immediately reach out to admin, please.
Yeah, Vijaya, can we just end the meeting?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.